Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 10:30. I'm going to call a public safety meeting to order. Becky, would you do roll, please?
I sure will. Hold on one second. Okay, we've got Mike Copine,
Here.
Keen Hudson,
Present.
Katie White,
Here.
Angie Shipper. Here. Mike Pearson.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody from the public. So we'll just keep moving on. Did everybody get a chance to read last month's minutes? And if so, are there any corrections, additions, omissions? If not, they'll stand approved as submitted. And I don't see Terry here from Animal. Terry, you on? No, she's not on. Amy,
Morning.
good morning.
Hey, can I interrupt just 1 second, Amy?
Sure.
She did submit reports,
What's that? Terry did?
animal control, so there are reports on the onboard, but she submitted after it was posted.
Okay.
So just sorry to interrupt you.
That's
Just wanted to
okay.
let them know they're out there.
So I just briefly wanted to let you guys know that we are wrapping up our demonstrations with vendors for our new case management system. So I'm hoping we will have some quotes, final quotes very soon. So that's a good thing. And then we'll go forward with the budget. But on another note, we are still short-staffed in my office. We're short 2 people. I may have another 2 people out on FMLA. That's to be determined. And I do have a posting out there listed for deputy clerk bookkeeper. And I have gotten 40 applicants. I have 3 interviews and 3 people have turned down interviews due to the salary. So that's where I'm at. So we're struggling a little bit, but that's kind of the norm and we'll see what happens. And that's all I've got. Any questions?
That's enough. Okay, thanks, Amy.
Thanks.
Anybody have any questions for Amy? Anybody willing to volunteer some time and help her out? Okay. I don't have anybody here that's representing the judges or anybody, public defender. Mr. Lally, EMA.
Good morning. Kind of a busy month. We've been dealing with a lot of weather, which included some rises in the river. Had a lot of questions about closing the river. Consulted with the sheriff and all that stuff. So that's out of our purview. That's IDNR and United States Coast Guard have more control over that than we do. So we left that to them. This is maintenance month, changed a lot of oil and generators and UTVs and all that stuff went on this month. Prepared for the Petunia Festival and assisting them. Did have a call from West Brooklyn about putting in an outdoor warning siren system and gave them guidance on how the policies and procedures work for that. So just kind of a quick overview of what, we did coordinate with the National Weather Service. We had some blowing dust in the county and caused a couple accidents. Coordinated with that with the National Weather Service. They put out a special advisory to watch the blowing dust. So earlier this month. So questions?
Are we anticipating anything from Burl coming up this far? I know the national news is saying that it's traveling in our direction.
It looks like it's going to go farther to the east of us. It's tending to work east. So they're saying to the east of 39. So I'm hoping that's good. A small town, Gibson City, in southern or central Illinois have 3.5 inches of rain today from it. So in about an hour and a half. So there's some water within it, but looks like it's trending towards the east. So.
That sounds good. Anybody have any further questions for Kevin? Okay, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Stacy,
Good
your
morning.
turn.
We are keeping up with the demands of pretrial. It's been extremely busy in our office with the new arrests that are coming through and the reports that we are completing in the early morning hours for the court. I've got a employee that is going to be leaving my office and moving into the trial court administrator. She was just recognized recently for her 25 years of service to the county. So Leslie Dever is going to be moving on, just down the floor, possibly in the courthouse, but still we're going to have a big gap in our office with the loss of her. So I'll be looking to make a replacement hire for her soon. The bushes in the parking lot down the middle of the parking lot at the new courts building look very nice. It was nice to see that put in. It's been a long time that those trees were cut down in that parking lot. There hasn't been much mulch or anything. It looks very nice. So thank you very much for putting those plants and those bushes in the parking lot at the new courts building. The last thing I would like to say is just thank you to the Sheriff's Department. We just had a situation on our office in which we had to have the court security respond and an ambulance respond. So we had a nice coordinated response from the Sheriff's Department, making all of that happen, and it went very smoothly. So thank you very much to the Sheriff's Department for that coordinated response. That's all that I have.
Okay, it's good to know you can rely on the people that serve you. Any other questions for Tracy? Okay, thanks, Tracy. Sheriff, you're up.
Sorry, I apologize. My report was delayed. I was off yesterday with some back spasms, so it was hot off the press about 15 minutes ago, so that's why you have hard copies. I will be submitting them to Becky for electronic copies to be put within the minutes. But just to hit on some of the highlights for the month of June, we had 777 calls for service. We had the unfortunate circumstance of assisting Ogle County with their 3 officers that got struck by gunfire in Lost Nation. We responded to assist in basically controlling and containing the crime scene. They still had some other calls for service that were coming in. We called in a couple deputies and sent them to Oregon so they could be central to assist the Sheriff's Department with other calls, since they were obviously preoccupied. We're working with a number of people, the zoning office, the health department, and rural fire with some issues out at the Magnuson Hotel that we're trying to get remedied or either close the facility. So there's kind of an update on that within the packet. There's a court date mid-July. There was a emergency stay that was authorized by the judge. So we've got a hearing date mid-July. So hopefully we can either get that rectified or get it shut down. I had another situation where an officer stopped a car. The individual was wanted on a warrant, took off from the officer. The deputy recognized who the individual was, did not pursue since he knew that would probably aggravate the situation. So we later did find that individual and take him into custody. Just a brief update on staffing. We still got 2 in training for the Corrections Division. They'll graduate August 9th from Macon County Law Enforcement Center. Still got 2 deputies in the basic law enforcement out at Sauk. Sergeant Matt McGrail is still off military orders, but we did just receive notice that another deputy that has been military is going to be activated in September, and he's probably going to be deployed for over a year. And at the very end of the packet, we just launched our new Sheriff's app. So it has a QR code if you so choose to download the app, but you can look up information on sex offenders. You can receive notifications if we have a major situation to avoid the area, storm information, a multitude of things. So feel free to take a look at that if you choose to do so. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff. Anybody have any questions for the sheriff? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Thank you, Sheriff. Mr. Boonstra, State's Attorney's Office.
Thank you, sir. We've been pretty busy, just like Stacy was saying, with Pretrial Fairness Act and trying to keep up with the releases and the detention hearings. We've actually been gauging how much time has been spent since September 18 when it went into effect, keeping an idea of what the hours are that are spent in addition to what was normally done before for detention hearings or conditions. There are a lot of moving parts and mechanisms that are in place now for the Safety Act. And based on that, in the hours spent, it's an additional around 843 hours that we've spent in addition to what we were doing before September 18. So it's been pretty busy, as Stacy was saying, just trying to keep up with everything. Closed out a bunch of cases over the last month or so. One of them was People of State of Illinois versus Dustin Zambrano. It was a predatory case, got 12 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. People of State of Illinois versus Clarence Prather received 14 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections for aggravated battery with a firearm. So those are a couple of the bigger ones that we've been dealing with over the last couple months. We've closed around, I think, 75 cases in the last 2 months. So that would be 75 felony cases. We keep track of those closed cases in an Excel document. If anybody ever wants to see those, you're certainly welcome to do so. I don't want to overwhelm you with documentation, but again, it's open to the public if you'd like to see it. Along with that, we did end up transitioning lots over to the Reagan Mass Transit District. We were able to do that last week. I think it was last week, right? I remember that. Yeah, last week. And time's just running wild. And now they're over there, and took a lot of time and effort between the county and then Lots and their attorneys to work through everything. But I think it was a good transition. Now everything will be in place.
Good. Thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Boonstra? Okay, thanks, Charlie. I appreciate it. Okay, abandoned property focus. Jeremy, would you like to take that?
Yeah, before I do, Terry Zinke did join via Zoom. Terry, would you like to go over your report?
I'm sorry, Terry, I didn't see you.
No,
Shadows there. Go ahead.
morning. No, when I went to get on, it made me update Zoom, so it took a little longer. I didn't know if anybody had any questions on the graphs for June. If not, then the couple other things I have. At this time, I'm not fully staffed again. So I'll be looking to replace an animal control officer. And the only other thing I have is I kind of wanted to read this to you because it kind of meant a lot. I had a gentleman want to look at one of our dogs for adoption. I believe he's a retired, I don't know if he was state or county officer. I don't believe he's from around here. But he came and looked at one of our dogs, and he had also a senior dog at home. So he was going to go home and talk to his wife, and he sent me an email the next day and said that he just wanted to let us know that him and his wife talked about the dog that they were looking at, and that they would have to pass at this time because this dog that he was looking at would have been too much for their senior dog at this point. So he made a good decision. Just because one dog may not be able, compatible or whatever with a senior dog if they're not very energetic. So they made a good choice. And then I thanked him for that. And if in the future he would want to look for anything to keep us in mind, he said he definitely will. And this is the part that hopefully I can keep together. He said we have a nice, clean county pound, and that he's been to many others that are been in disrepair. And then he emailed back again and said, I'd be very proud of what you have there. We don't get that very often. And I just wanted to read that out loud so that we appreciate that. And we have a love for the
Congratulations,
animals
Terry.
here. And
Terry, that's awesome.
I just wanted-
Congratulations.
I just wanted to throw it out there so that people knew we're not a bad place. And a lot of people think that, and a lot of animal control facilities, they're bad raps, just like some dog breeds are bad raps. And we're not, and we're trying to let people know that we are not like that. So now that I have tears in my eyes, that's all I had.
Terry, excuse me, I think if you were as bad a rap as a lot of people probably claim you to be, why is your facility full?
Why is it full?
Because they're getting the care and the proper care that they're supposed to get when they're in transition from one location to another. If it was empty, I mean, you weren't doing anything for animals.
Right, correct.
Any questions for Terry? I don't know if you've been out there or not, but I took a load of blankets out there last year, and I don't know if they still have them or not or need more, but it's quite well operated and they are busy out there. So if you have an interest, just swing by and let Terry show you around, or one of the staff. I'm sure they'd be glad to let you take a look. And maybe you take a friend home too, you never know.
We always throw that out there. You can't leave without something.
Okay, thanks,
Mike,
Terry.
I just wanted to say congratulations, Terry. It is a really nice facility. You're doing a great job. And you continue to make improvements, whether there's budget or no budget. And I just want to say it's appreciated.
Thanks, Angie.
Okay, Charlie, did you have, or I'm sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick update on the abandoned nuisance properties focus group. So we met last week, had some additional attendees. We're kind of expanding the group, as the sheriff mentioned in his report as well. The Magnuson Hotel is in a little bit of a hiatus right now on what our next steps are and how we're going to approach this to get closure and or solutions that fit the needs of the health and safety of our constituents with that facility. So that's one big piece of the puzzle that we're working on right now. Another one is Lee Center School. As we've continued to actively engage in conversations with a potential developer and or the county taking ownership of that for demolishment. So we're going to be talking about that at an executive. But within the abandoned properties focus group, we do have some finances that are set aside through ARPA dollars. I'm going to actually be requesting some more ARPA dollars that are going to be reallocated from ARPA capital or back to ARPA capital to make sure that we're able to bolster that pot just a little bit more, because there's only about $56,000 in there right now. And let's say we need to demolish a large commercial facility like Lee Center School, it's at least $100,000. So if we want to act on something, we need to have some funds to do so. So that's actually going to be at the Finance Committee on Thursday, and that'll be moving forward to the board as well. We have a couple other residential properties that are on the list. We are still working through the Strong Communities Grant Program with the $75,000 that we have that is allocated towards residential, but we haven't acted upon a residential property yet. The city of Dixon has half of that. They have not used their half either. So we have about another year and a half to use those funds, but we're really hoping we spoke with some community partners in Amboy, Franklin Grove, and Sublette and some other areas that they have identified some residences that they would like to partner with us on. So we're asking them to do their process first. Once they get their side of it done, which is working with the property, taking ownership, and we will come in and help them with funding the demolishment or rehab of. So there's a lot of great things going on. Unfortunately, it takes time with some of this stuff, and we don't get the immediate results that some of us would like to see, but we are getting there. So I appreciate everybody's efforts on that, because it is, there's a lot of us that are working towards the common goal of, working to make sure that we have a safe, county within there's plenty of nuisance properties that are out there, as we know, and trying to make sure that we continue to scratch at that a little bit at a time.
I did have one additional come in via, and I don't remember whether it was email or instant message off of Facebook inquiring about a property and the fact that there may be some funds there. So I'll get that to you when I get either tomorrow or Thursday.
Sounds great. Thank you.
So
Any questions for me in regard to Bannon nuisance properties? Oh, Mike, you attended the last meeting. Any comments? Okay.
I did make a little tour the last couple of days, and I've taken some pictures for Alice on a property with the started accumulation of vehicles. I've made a revisit to the Lee Center School, which I'll talk to you after the meeting about. And there was one other one I've been out on. I was over in Lee, Illinois. The mayor had contacted me about a week and a half ago, and there's some issues over there on a couple of pieces of property, some illegal burning of tires going on. So I've kind of started some research on that, and I'll have some pictures. Then that one is atrocious. So I think there'll be a combination there. One parcel of the property is between a second one. The middle piece of property is, I got to stop. One of them's in the city, one of them isn't. And the one that's in the city is beyond the one that's rated as county. So I'm trying to connect with the mayor over there. There's a communication issue. I mean, not a denial of it. It's just not enough numbers to make the contacts. And I'll be picking up on that also. So
Perfect.
I think it's great that we move forward on that, Lisa,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a
in
handful.
case something does.
Yeah. So our goal is, and we'll talk about this on Thursday a little bit further, but, we talked to Tim Zallinger, who's going to be taking on some of those proceedings for us as the state's attorney's office is bogged down in a million other things. So, something to be looking on is they're going to need some more budget too for maybe another attorney. But anyway, so we, what we're trying to accomplish is making sure we got our process down. And over the last handful of months, we've been working through that as a focus group with State's Attorney Boonstra and Tim Zallinger. So we're making sure that we are doing the right thing, going through the right procedures and process, and making sure that we could actually take some action on some of these.
any other questions? Okay. Alice is here from zoning and just has a short briefing. So I'm going to allow her to go ahead.
Just a brief announcement. On Monday, July 29th, we're going to be hosting a floodplain seminar here in the main courtroom. We'll have food at 5:30. The meeting will start at 6. It will be open to the public. We're hoping to be able to educate everyone as to what is in our floodplain code and what the state is pushing onto us that we'll have coming in the future. Additionally, Aaron Conley with IDNR will be present to answer questions and present as well. So if you could all be in attendance, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like it's going to be interesting. May not get the same speaker the second time around, so we'll see what happens. Any questions for Alice? Okay, thank you.
That was here, correct?
Yes. Here, time again?
The meeting will start at 6, but we're going to offer food at 5:30.
Okay. Okay, I have nothing under unfinished business. And also nothing under new business. Charlie, anything for executive session? Nothing for executive
Hey, Mike.
session?
I think you need to approve the previous minutes still.
What was
The
that
approval
again?
of the minutes from the previous meeting.
You're right, I didn't. Do we have to do that by vote? Because I did state that they were approved as submitted.
Did you?
Nobody had any questions or
Okay.
changes or anything, and I just said that if there were no changes or
Okay.
corrections,
Perfect.
would you prefer I take it the other direction? Because I don't have any.
It's okay. We just didn't hear. We wanted to make sure. We missed it. Our apologies.
Accepted. Okay, nothing for executive. I entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved by Mr. Hudson, seconded by Mr. Pearson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.